Hi everyone. Great to see you again today. Hope you and your families are all doing well and staying healthy and safe and enjoying this nice weather that we're having. So for today's practice, I do have a couple blocks, I have a belt, and I also have a chair. So if you do not have any blocks or any telephone books anymore to use as blocks, you can use a chair for additional support. So let's get started in a comfortable seated position where we're sitting up tall, and remember to slide a blanket or a pillow underneath your bottom if you need a little bit more support so you can fully relax those outer legs down. And then let's just take a moment here. So whether it's first thing in the morning that you're doing the practice or in the evening, we'll just take a moment to see how our bodies are doing. See how the mind is doing, and just making any note of areas of the body that might require any modification or skipping. Always feel free to modify or skip anything that doesn't feel good. Remember, we do want to get some exercise with our practice, but also take some time to relax the mind, to kind of just focus on our breath and how we're doing for today. And then let's draw the palms of the hands together at your heart center. And if you haven't already found your Ujjayi breath, let's go ahead and build that way of breathing, where you breathe in and out through the nose. That's open and comfortable. Feeling the breath in and out of the belly region. And then adding a soft sound to your breath. And then here, if you'd like to set an intention or a dedication for your practice, go ahead and do so at this time. And then let's open the eyes if they're closed. Namaste. Let's inhale to circle those arms out and up. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale, hands to the heart. And as we move through a few more rounds on your breath, just notice if the knees are kind of wanting to go along with the arms. So see if you can relax those knees down the whole time. One more round, inhale. And then exhale, hands to the heart. And then let's walk our hands forward and kind of round through the spine a little bit as you start to sway left and right. Just getting a little movement, little kind of like S movement for the spine, and also an easy stretch for the sideways, the lower back. And then let's walk our hands back towards us so we can sit up tall. Change the crossing of the legs if they're crossed, but remember you can have the legs in whatever position feels good. And then we'll do the same thing, walk those fingertips forward, and then find just a little swaying from side to side, starting to warm up the sideways or stretch it out. And then let's come back to center, pressing your way back to an upright seated mountain pose. Inhale, arms out and up. Keep the shoulders down. Exhale, easy side bend to one direction, and then relax the shoulders down. It's just a relaxing side bend. You don't even have to have this top arm really straight. You can have it a little bit bent, but keep the shoulders away from the ears. And then press your way back up. Take an inhale. Exhale over to the other side. And take a few rounds of Ujjayi breath here. Still feeling those outer knees relax down. So notice if you are holding tension in those outer legs, see if you can kind of breathe it away. Let's press into the hand to come back up, and then draw the hands back to the heart. Let's take an inhale. Feel that the chest is lifting, and then as you exhale, keep pressing those hands together as you slowly twist any amount to one direction. But keep those hands right alongside the center of the chest so the arms aren't traveling without the upper half of the body. So it might just be a few degrees, still sitting upright, lots of energy in the core. And then on the inhale, let's come through center, and then exhale over to the other side. Remember to keep the hands right at the center of the chest, so we're only turning the chest just a little bit to the other side, and then relax those outer knees down. And then let's make our way back to center. One more inhale, arms out and up, and then exhale, hands to the heart. Interlace the hands. Let's get a little movement, a little warm up for those wrists. Change the direction of your hand circles. Ooh. And remember, any of the movements, any of the poses that we do on our hands, if it's uncomfortable for the wrists, feel free to come onto the forearms, and then you can stack blocks or anything underneath to give some support. Let's move into our tabletop pose. Finish our spinal movements by doing a few rounds of our cow-cat. So inhale, little arch in the spine, and then exhale, go ahead and round. And then move just a couple more times this way, finding that Ujjayi breath. And then come back to center, and let's start just a little side sway. Whatever feels good. It could just be a little movement. It could be a lot. You might even feel the hips drift off to one side, so you're starting to feel the stretch, or off to the side, the outside of the mat a little bit, the shoulders. And then let's come back to center. Draw the shoulders back. Let's move into balancing cat. So right leg straight back, toes down, or right leg lifts, left arm reaches forward. Take an inhale, and then exhale, round through the spine, elbow to knee. With the breath, inhale to reach it long. Exhale, hug it in. Inhale, reach it long. And then exhale, hug it in. And then let's release the left hand down, but extend the right leg straight back. Take an inhale here. And then as you exhale, bend the right knee, draw the right knee to the right shoulder. Feel the squeeze along the right side waist. And then inhale, reach it back. Exhale, right knee to the outside of the right shoulder. Inhale, reach it back. Exhale, knee to shoulder. Inhale, reach it back, and then set that right knee down. And then kind of sway left and right a couple times just to loosen up that outer hip. And then let's go over to the other side. So left leg straight back. Remember, toes down, or left foot lifts. Right arm extends forward. Take an inhale, and then exhale, round, elbow to knee underneath. Inhale, stretch it long. Exhale, round. Inhale to stretch it long, and then exhale, round. And then let's stretch it back long. Set the right hand down. Take an inhale here, and then as you exhale, bend the left knee, draw it to the outside of the left shoulder. Feel the squeeze. Inhale, extend. Exhale, squeeze it in. Inhale to extend. Exhale, squeeze it in. And then let's extend that left leg back long. Set the knee down, maybe a little sway of the hips right and left. And then as you do this, start to widen the knees, draw the big toes towards each other, and sit it back into child's pose. Take a moment here. And remember, child's pose is a pose of rest, so feel free to come into it at any time throughout your practice, whenever feels right for your body. And then from our child's pose, let's look forward, let's slither forward, come onto our bellies. Let's do a little core work. So interlace those fingers and have the elbows kind of right underneath the shoulders, or slightly a little narrower than the shoulders, and then draw the shoulders back. And then let's draw those knees together and start to float the hips off of the mat. So coming into modified forearm plank, just building a little heat in the body. Notice how the spine is doing. Really pull in the lower belly, right underneath the navel. Feel that squeeze, and squeeze as hard or as firmly as you comfortably can. Maybe you'll start to feel a little shakiness, and that's good. You're building strength. One more full round of breath, and then go ahead and release. Hips down. Let's widen the elbows, stack the hands, place the head onto the hands, bend those knees, sway them left to right a little bit, release out the lower back. Let's extend those legs back long, come back onto your forearms, change the interlacing of the fingers, draw the shoulders back, and then when you're ready, let's lift those hips and use the inner thighs. So the knees are drawing towards each other. We're engaging through the inner thighs, drawing them together, and breathing here. Try to keep those hips and those shoulders even. Feel that strong engagement of the lower belly. Breathing, enjoying any shakiness that you might have. One last round of breath here. And then let's slowly release the hips down. Widen the elbows, stack the hands, maybe opposite hand on top this time. And then bend those knees, sway them out, or even circle them out, whatever feels good. And extend those legs back long. Let's draw those hands alongside the ribs for cobra. Elbows and shoulders draw back. Tops of the feet plant into the mat. Separate those feet, hips width are a tiny bit wider, and then inhale. It's almost as if somebody is lifting you up from the back of the neck. So you keep the back of the neck nice and long, lifting up to a comfortable point, and then exhale, release back down. Let's pulse through our cobra 2 more times. Inhale to lift, drawing those hands as if you can slide them back towards the feet, but keep them there. Exhale, release. And one more time, really working, feeling the muscles of the upper back, engaging through the belly so the lower spine doesn't overarch. And then go ahead and release. And then let's draw the elbows in, press, peel yourself up, press it back to child's pose. And in child's pose, let's add a little side bend. Let's walk the hands to the right, shift the hips a little bit to the left to a comfortable point. And then from here, maybe start to lift the left armpit a little bit further away from the mat. So the hips or the shoulders are a little uneven, left shoulder a little bit higher than the right. So you get a really good stretch, and then come back to center, release, and over to the other side. Arms to the left, hips maybe a tiny bit to the right. Relax those the shoulders and the armpits down first. And then if it feels good, you can slowly start to add a tiny bit of a twist. So the right shoulder starts to lift a little bit. Maybe the left shoulder is able to lower towards the mat a little bit more. It'll intensify the stretch, but just find that mild sensation that works best for you. And then release, armpits down, arms extend forward. Let's come forward back into tabletop pose. And then from tabletop, let's walk the hands about 1 hand length forward, and then adjust the shoulders so they stack over the wrists. So we'll take an inhale. Maybe the shoulders come a little bit forward of the wrists. This nice easy stretch here. Maybe the hips start to release down a little bit lower than the shoulders, and then exhale. Let's draw those hips back. Keep those hands glued to where they are. Arms are relatively straight. Shoulders draw back. Inhale, press it forward. Curl those toes under, full plank pose. Really feel the power of the thighs as you straighten the legs. And then exhale, softly release the knees down. Sit it back towards child's pose. Inhale, forward into plank. And then exhale, draw back. And then one more time, let's come into plank, and we'll hold plank here. Have those feet about hip bone distance apart, and let's draw the heels over to the right. Maybe the outer edge of the right foot and the inner edge of the left foot touch the mat, or maybe they don't. And then come to center and kind of swing them over to the other side. So you get an easy spinal twist as well. It doesn't have to be too much. Let's do one more time on each side, heels to the right. Chest and shoulders still stay even. And then through center and heels over to the left. Come back to center, take an inhale, and then exhale, press it back and up, downward facing dog. And when you get there, let's pedal through the legs, maybe widen the feet as wide as the mat. Maybe you have those shifts of the hips, right and left, just to feel out how things are doing. You might feel a stretch to the inner thighs. And then when you're ready, coming into stillness, having a nice bend in those knees if you need it. Draw the shoulders back towards those hips. Find that external rotation at the shoulders. So kind of the outer edges of your armpits start to point down, or even have that energy as if you're trying to draw the armpits towards each other. So shoulders are moving towards those hips. Head is moving towards those hands. Getting like nice length through the neck. One last rounded breath here. Remember, puppy pose is also a nice option, or child's pose actually, where you have the knees down and extend those arms forward, whatever feels good to your body. And then slowly release those knees down. Sit it back into child's pose. Take a moment here. And then from our child's pose, let's lift those hips, curl those toes under, back to downward facing dog. Take another few rounds of breath here. Remember, take what you want out of the practice, leave what you want out of the practice. So feel free to modify, make it more relaxing or even more energizing. And then from downward facing dog, let's lift those heels as high as you can. Get a nice stretch for the legs. Take another full round of breath here. And then slowly release those heels down towards the mat. Walk the hands back to the feet. So coming to the back of the mat, generous bend in those knees, maybe releasing just onto the thighs, maybe releasing the head, maybe flipping those hands so that the back of the hands are in contact with the mat. Toes are pointing forward, but the fingers are pointing back towards the back edge of the mat. So you just get a nice easy counter stretch for those wrists. And then start to bend those knees, engage through your core. So really tighten up through the core so we can do all the work along with those legs. Lower back just gets a nice stretch as you slowly roll it up the spine. Inhale, arms forward and up or out and up. Exhale, soft bend in the knees, melted into your forward fold. Inhale, let's glide those hands onto the shins or even the thighs, and then press firmly into those legs as you straighten those arms and find a nice flat back. I'm going to breathe here for just a moment. Notice if you're overarching through the spine, we're still pulling that navel up in towards the spine. As neutral position in the spine as you can. So strong flat back. Lots of work for those arms. So a lot of energy in those arms, pressing into the legs. Make sure their hands are not on the knees. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, slowly release into your forward fold. Let's walk it back forward, coming into downward facing dog. And then shift it forward into plank pose, top of a push-up. Option is to set the right knee down and open up to side plank. If you want a little bit more, let's roll to the outer edge of the right foot, inner edge of the left foot. Right hand underneath the right shoulder, and maybe it's a full plank, side plank, or maybe you have the knee down. So it's your choice, whatever type of practice you'd like to have. Keep moving the shoulders to the hips. Keep feeling the lift of that right side waist up towards the ceiling or the sky if you're outside. And then let's slowly come back to plank. Take an inhale. Stay here for the exhale, and let's move over to the other side. Remember, left knee down or both knees lifted. Really strong power through both legs, and maybe the right arm lifts. Breathing here, and then engage through that left side waist. Feel the squeeze, almost like a little side crunch. Breathing, strong in the legs, and then slowly make your way back to plank. Take an inhale, maybe a little shift forward, almost like you're going down into chaturanga, but let's skip it. And then exhale, downward facing dog. From down dog, let's start to walk those hands back to the feet. Come into that supported forward fold where you're bending those knees nice and generously. And then let's start to glide the hands up the shins, draw the shoulders back, engage through the belly, and then press those hands into the shins. So use that energy of pressing into the shins to draw the shoulders back and then reach the top of the head forward. Really lengthen out through the neck, through the spine. Maybe feel a stretch, easy, mild sensation of a stretch along the back of the legs. Take another inhale. Exhale back into your fold. And then let's rise all the way up to standing, soft bend in the knees, almost coming back into that really strong tabletop, standing tabletop position, and then continue. Squeeze the bottom, squeeze your legs to rise on up and draw those arms forward or out and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Let's do one more time just like that. Inhale to lift. Exhale, soft bend in the knees, float it down. Inhale, halfway lift, pressing into the legs to extend the spine. And then as you exhale, walk it forward to downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward into plank. Stay here for the exhale, coming into our side plank, right knee down or legs strong as you lift the left arm up. Squeeze that right sideways, lifting those hips. Take another full round of breath here. Shoulders move back, really strong in the core and the arms. And then come back down. Take an inhale. Stay for the exhale. Try to find neutral position in the spine. And then over to the other side. Maybe it's left knee down this time. I'll take the left knee down option as you lift up. Still thinking whether your left knee is down or if it's lifted, of squeezing that left sideways, moving the shoulders down, breathing here. And then take the right hand down. Come back to plank. Inhale, shift it forward. Nice easy stretch for the wrists. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. Take an inhale, exhale out the mouth, and maybe a child's pose here, or you can stay in downward facing dog and build strength. If downward facing dog has become kind of a pose of rest for you, where you can really get some nice good stretch, then you're welcome to stay in downward facing dog. And then if you are not in downward facing dog, let's go ahead and rise back up. And then let's have those feet about hip bone distance apart. Inhale, right leg back and up. And then as you exhale, shift forward into plank. Let's cross right knee to left elbow. Little twist. Inhale, back and up. Exhale, little twist. One more time. Inhale, back and up. And then exhale, right knee to left elbow. Inhale, back up. Exhale, release the right foot down. Over to the other side. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left knee to right elbow, little twist. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, left knee to right elbow. Inhale to lift. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale to lift. Exhale, release it down. Set it down into child's pose. Maybe a little stretch for those wrists. Nice, easy counter stretch for those wrists. And then when you're ready, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step it right into the inside of the right hand or carry it there if it doesn't make it. And let's settle that left knee down onto the mat. Let's take our hands to the right thigh and press our way up. Coming into kind of a low crescent variation, drawing those hips forward, drawing the tailbone down so you get lots of length for that lower back. And just taking a moment here, breathing, finding your Ujjayi breath. Remember, you can make the practice more relaxing or more energizing depending on how you feel, depending on how much day you have left. And then let's slowly release it down. Let's place the fingertips onto your mat or on blocks or books. Curl the left toes under and really strengthen, power through the left leg. So feel that the left thigh is engaged. Breathing here. And remember, you're welcome to stay at any point in the pose. If you want a little bit more, hands onto the right thigh. Press your way up, float your way up. We're just going to keep the arms down here or hands onto the right thigh for now, as you just get a mild sensation of a stretch. So if you need to come up a little bit higher, come up a little bit higher. Try to find that neutral position of your pelvis and breathing here. Shoulders over the hips, just working with the balance a little bit. And then let's slowly hinge forward, release fingertips back down, release the left knee down. Inhale, let's draw those hips forward and lift the chest, and then stay here for the exhale. And then we'll slowly start to heel toe that right foot towards the outer edge of the mat. Plant the palms and coming into kind of a baby lizard pose. So maybe you're able to draw the hips a little bit more forward, or maybe you have to keep them back, depending on your body. Maybe you're opening the right knee out to the right as you roll to the outer edge of the right foot, just a little bit, but keep that right ankle in neutral position so we're not side bending through the ankle. Breathing here. And then we'll slowly start to draw those hips back so you can heel toe that right foot or swing it so the right knee meets the left. And then let's curl those toes under, send it back to downward facing dog. Draw the shoulders back. Inhale, left leg floats back and up. And then exhale, step or carry it to the inside of the left hand. Or if it doesn't make it there, you can assist and lower the right knee down to the mat. Coming onto fingertips or blocks just for a moment. And then slide the hands onto the left thigh. Press your way back up. And breathing here. So find how far forward to shift the hips works for you. If you start to feel it's too intense of a stretch, you can back off a little bit. We're just going to breathe here, pulling the shoulders down. So even though we're not moving and it feels more of a stretching pose, lots of energy still in the legs. Take another inhale. As you exhale, release down. Plant the fingertips down, curl the right toes under, straighten the right leg, power through the right leg. Maybe you're staying here. If you want a little bit more, hands back onto the left thigh. Notice if you're overarching through the spine, adjust so that we can keep lengthen the lower back. Breathe here. Really work on those legs, giving our upper arms or our arms a little break. Last round of breath here. And then we'll slowly hinge forward, release fingertips down, release the right knee down. And then draw your hips forward. Comfortable stretch. And then when you're ready, heel toe the left foot to the left side of the mat, to the outside of the left hand, and then come into your lizard pose. So if you do have a chair, and if you don't have any blocks or any books and you do have a chair, an option is to kind of come up onto the chair. So feel free to use your props in any way to make the pose more comfortable, more accessible to you. If you'd like, you can slowly draw the left knee a little bit out to the left as you roll to the outer edge of the left foot, but find what works best for you for that mild sensation. And then let's slowly draw those hips just a little bit back so we can heel toe or just swing that left knee back to meet the right. Let's curl those toes under, send it back. Downward facing dog. Let's step those feet a little bit closer together. And then inhale, right leg back and up. Exhale, bend the knee and open the hip. Maybe a few turns of the feet. Move that right foot in one direction, over to the other side, the other direction. And then let's start to straighten the right leg, square off the hip. Let's shift forward into plank. Right knee to left elbow. Maybe stay here. At any time you can put those toes down. Or maybe start to stretch the right leg out to the left. Roll to the inner edge or even the sole of the left foot, and then opening up into our fallen triangle pose. There you can see my toes. And then let's come out. Back to three-legged dog. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, step or carry it in between the hands, almost like setting up for warrior two pose. But from here, we're going to spin over to the left. So all 10 toes are pointing to the left long edge of the mat. Take an inhale to lengthen, and then exhale, release down any amount. Another option, forearms onto the thighs if the floor seems a little too far for the hands. Breathing here, maybe dropping the neck, but do please have your hands resting on something and even have a soft bend in those knees. And then soft bend in those knees. Let's straighten the arms. Take an inhale. As you exhale, let's walk back to face towards the top edge of the mat. Inhale, maybe lower the hips. And then exhale, step it back to plank, top of a push-up. Option for a vinyasa or to skip. Either straight back, downward facing dog. Hold plank for a couple rounds of breath, then down dog. Or flow through your vinyasa with the knees up or down. Shift those shoulders a little bit forward of the wrists. Keep those elbows alongside the body, shoulders drawing back. As you release halfway or all the way down, inhale into your back bend, and then exhale, downward facing dog. And then from here, either stay in downward facing dog for a couple rounds of breath or take a child's pose as I slowly spin around. But you stay where you are. And then let's move over to the other side. So from downward facing dog, step the feet a little bit closer together. Inhale, left leg back and up. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. And maybe a few turns of that left foot in one direction. Change the direction of your foot circles or just wiggle it out. And then let's straighten the left leg. Shift forward into plank. Left knee to right elbow, maybe stay here, maybe the toes are down, or maybe coming into fallen triangle where you're turning your right toes to the right, extending the left leg straight out to the right, and maybe lifting the right arm, and there's my toes there. But breathing here, stay on the outer edge of the left foot really strong and power through, and then let's slowly release. Three-legged dog. And then step or carry it between the hands, almost like setting up for warrior two, but we are just going to spin to your right side of the mat, all 10 toes pointing towards the right. Inhale, straighten the arms, lift up, and then exhale, fold it forward to your mild sensation of a stretch. Breathing here. See if you can make this pose a little bit of a release. Finding that Ujjayi breath. Remember, just mild sensation of a stretch. Welcome to use props, anything you need. And then let's slowly straighten the arms. Take an inhale. As you exhale, soft bend in those knees. And let's spin back to face the top of the mat. Coming into a runner's lunge, flatten the palms, make your way back. Either plank pose where you have those options or downward facing dog. Maybe flowing through your vinyasa, shifting forward, lowering halfway or all the way down, inhaling into your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then let's all take a child pose, set those knees down onto the mat. And release. And then from our child's pose, let's lift those hips, come back to downward facing dog. And then downward facing dog, separate your feet a little bit wider than the hips, bend those knees, walk the hands back to your feet. And then either a supported forward fold, forearms onto the thighs, or releasing maybe the backs of the hands are on the tops of the feet so you get a nice counter stretch for those wrists. Or maybe you're starting to bend those knees and find your way into your yogi squat. If you are coming into your low squat, feel the chest lift, upper arms to the inside of the knees to make sure those knees track towards the center of the toes. But always make sure your joints are happy. So if your joints are not happy, come into an alternate pose. And we'll just take another moment here. So feel, if you're in your low squat, really ground the feet down into your mat to get a rebound of energy, to get that lift in the chest. You're working those fronts of the ankles. And then from here, if you are in your low squat, let's invert. Let's all come into a supported forward fold, taking just another moment here. And then bend those knees, engage through the core. Let's slow roll it up the spine. Hands can walk up the legs. You can adjust your clothes. And then when you get to an upright standing position, inhale, arms out or forward and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. All right, let's walk to the top of the mat. So maybe you have a chair there, or maybe you have blocks. So whatever you need to support you when we come into our half moon pose. Let's find the feet together. Find our hands right at our heart center. Take a moment here. Right leg will be the standing leg. Let's lift the left toes. Hinge forward at the hips. Any amount. Coming into your warrior three. And if the chair's there and you need a little bit more assistance for the balance, you're welcome to place the fingertips onto the chair. But we're powering through that left leg. powering through that left thigh, breathing here. And then let's reach those left toes back. Warrior Two base, gently land it down, heel to arch alignment. And then when you're ready, you can press your way up to circle into Warrior Two, and then make any adjustments for the feet. And maybe if you want more of an energizing practice, you're coming into a nice deep Warrior Two stance. So right knee stacks and tracks towards the center of those toes, freeze it there. Left leg is strong and straight, so really power through that left thigh. Make sure you're not locking out any of the joints. And then let's open up the arms and settle those shoulders down. We're going to stay here for a total of 3 rounds of breath. If you're able to go deeper into the pose, go ahead, but make sure you're still comfortable and are able to come out easily of the pose. So powering through the front and the back legs. Breathing here. Last round of breath. Let's flip the right palm. Reverse your warrior. Make it a nice, easy side stretch. Maybe just dangling this left arm or wrapping it back behind you. Move the shoulders down, still powering through that left leg. Take another inhale. And then exhale, come back. Warrior Two. Let's heel toe that left foot a little bit forward. Coming into triangle pose. And then let's start to straighten both legs. Right leg is straight. Draw those hips back. Reach the left arm far forward as you can. Lots of stretch. And then maybe the left fingertips are on the chair or back. Sorry, the right fingertips on the chair, or the back of the right hand to the inside of the right leg. Feel the turn of the chest and the shoulders. Feel the work of this top sideways. Maybe the left arm is up, or maybe the left arm is up by the ear. Maybe the right arm. Try to find that length in the spine, so not too much side bending. Lots of work if both arms are extending. And then release them. Back out, bend to the right knee. Let's come into half moon pose. Step your left foot forward, and maybe you're just using the chair. Or maybe you're reaching lower and using a block. So find what works best for you and breathe here. Or maybe you're skipping and just staying in Warrior Two or side angle pose, whatever feels good. Maybe you're bending that left knee. Or maybe you're not. So find what works best for you. Working on the balance. One last round of breath here. And then if you do have your left foot, go ahead and release it back out. We're going to take the left hand down either to a chair or your blocks or the mat. Square the hips and we'll slowly release the left foot back down to meet the right. Bend those knees. Let's slow roll it up the spine. And when you get there, let's inhale, arms out or forward and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Take a moment here while I switch over to the other side, maybe revisiting your intention or your dedication for your practice. And then let's come into that second side. So let's start with the hands at your heart center, standing up as tall as you can. Find your Ujjayi breath. Left leg is now the standing leg. Let's lift the right toes. Make sure you're not locking out the left knee, and then come into your Warrior Three, maybe with the assistance of the chair. Press out through the right heel. Engage to the right thigh, so feel that it's working to lift that right leg back and up. Breathing here. And then soft bend in the left knee. Reach those right toes back. Land it in Warrior Two as best as you can, knowing that we will adjust later. Pull those hips underneath you, and when you're ready, let's circle and come into Warrior Two. And then maybe really challenge your pose. Start to build some strength. Try to get that left thigh to be parallel to the floor. If you would like more of an energetic practice, remember, draw those right toes in slightly. Power through that right back leg, right ankle. Arches of the feet are engaged. And when you're ready, let's hold this pose for about 3 rounds of breath. Shoulders over the hips. Breathing here, make sure that left knee is stacked over the ankle, tracking towards the center of the toes, and then freeze it there. Lots of good energy here. Maybe you're starting to feel some shake like I am. Keep thinking about those hips squaring towards the long edge of the mat without sacrificing the position of the left knee. Ooh, let's flip that left palm, reach it up and back, reverse your warrior. Nice, easy side stretch, still bending the left knee to stack and track, still working the strength of the legs, the front, the back leg, powering through that right thigh, that back thigh, breathing here. And then let's come back, warrior two. Whew. Let's start to heel toe that right foot a little bit forward for triangle pose, and then straighten the left leg. Draw those hips back and up. Reach that left arm as far forward as you can. Really get some nice length through both sideways, long spine. When you can no longer reach, maybe left hand down onto the chair, right arm up, or maybe back of the left hand inside of the left leg. Use it to help keep the chest turning to the right side of the mat. And then if you want to stay here, you can. If you want a little bit more, right arm by the ear, right palm facing down, shoulder moves down. If you want even more, left arm parallel to the right. Keep turning the chest. Find your Ujjayi breath. Lots of work here. And then open up those arms. Let's come into our half moon pose. Remember, you can use blocks, or you can use a chair, or maybe just hand on to the mat. If you can come into that easily, start to bend through the left knee. Transfer the weight, and then find your half moon pose. Try to have that left hand right underneath the left shoulder. So lots of space for the bottom left waist. And then if you want a little bit more, maybe bending the right knee, catching the foot, still opening up through the chest, still finding that Ujjayi breath, or even skipping your half moon pose. If you do have that right foot, go ahead and release. Take another full round of breath here. Feel the expansion of the body. And then let's take right hand down, square the hips, and then take right foot down. Let's start to bend those knees. Slowly roll it on up. And then when you get to the top, let's inhale, arms out and up or forward and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Let's go ahead and separate those feet a little bit wider than the hips. Come into a supported forward fold. Stretch out the back of the body. Inhale, arms out and up or forward and up. Exhale, soft bend in those knees. And then if you do have a chair there, maybe you're just relaxing. Maybe you're even relaxing the head onto the chair and just allowing the arms down. If you don't have a chair, that's fine too. Standard forward fold, supported forward fold, or even releasing down. And then let's have a soft bend in those knees. Slowly roll it on up. Inhale, arms out or forward and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Nice work, everyone. Let's just take a moment here. Find yourselves in mountain pose. Maybe closing the eyes for a moment. Little test for the balance as well. And then release, arms down. Okay, let's come back to the top of the mat. I'm just going to bring my chair over to this side once again. And then from the top of the mat, let's come into chair pose. Working those legs, breathing here. Make sure you can see all 10 toes. And then let's shift the weight into the balls of the feet and lift those heels as high as is comfortable. Feel the stretch of the toes, working them. Remember, if the feet are apart, the knees are apart the same distance as the feet. Take another inhale, and then as you exhale, softly release, heels down. Come into a forward fold, maybe using the chair or maybe just drawing the arms down. Inhale, halfway lift, and then exhale. Let's step the left foot back. Separate those feet so that you are in a high crescent base. And then when you're ready, hands onto that right thigh to press your way up. And then let's come into a twist. So let's power through the left leg. Remember, left knee down is always an option as well. Take an inhale. As you exhale, hinge about 45 degrees forward. And we'll start with the hands on the right leg. Take an inhale, think of lengthening the spine. And then as you exhale, you can press into the hands to get the shoulders and the chest, maybe some of the ribs, to twist to the right and breathe here. So you're welcome to stay in more of a high twist. You can always use the chair too, if you have a chair, to support you in the twist. If you want a little bit more, you can slide the left foot back a little bit and maybe coming into prayer twist, hooking the left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. Think of lengthening and then feel that sensation of the rib cage is also turning as well. And maybe the palms of the hands pressed together, and maybe you're looking over your right shoulder. But still power through the left leg. So think of lifting that left thigh up towards the ceiling without locking out the knee. Make sure that right upper leg is parallel to the long edge of the mat. One more round of breath here. Lots of work for the legs. And then let's slowly untwist. Take an inhale, come back to center, hands onto the right thigh. And then as you exhale, lean it forward, hands either onto the chair for support or onto your mat. And then let's take an inhale, and then as you exhale, standing splits. Stand tall in the right leg. If you'd like, you can open up the hips, maybe bend the left knee. If your chair's there like it is for me, maybe you're resting your head, forehead onto the chair. If you don't have a chair, no worries. And then let's start to straighten the left leg, score off the hip, and then just step that left foot to be in line with the right. Bend those knees. Let's slow roll it on up. Shake it out if you need to. And then let's move over to the other side. So inhale, arms forward or out and up. Exhale, let's come into a forward fold. Sitting the hands on a chair or hands onto the leg, and let's reach that right foot way back. Separate those feet at least hip bone distance apart, and then hands can climb onto the left thigh so you can upright. Take a moment here, find your Ujjayi breath. And then let's go into that twist. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, hinge forward about 45 degrees. Take an inhale. And then exhale. You can press into the hands to start to turn the shoulders and the chest over to the left. Feel the ribs also turning, but the hips stay even. And if you want a little bit more, maybe walking that right foot a little bit further back and coming into your prayer twist, hooking right elbow to the outside of the left thigh, maybe drawing the palms together, pressing the palms together, and keep that left elbow low. So it's not reaching, pointing up towards the ceiling, and maybe your gaze is over the left shoulder. And breathing here for a couple more rounds of breath. But find what works best for you. Remember, it's just a mild sensation of a twist. So we don't want to over twist or yank ourselves into the twist. Last round of breath here. Working those legs. Left thigh is parallel to the long edge of the mat. Feel the squeeze of that outer left hip. And then let's slowly come back. Maybe hands onto the chair or onto the floor. And let's come into our standing splits. So standing strongly into that left leg. Reach the right leg up. You can open the hip. You can bend the knee. Maybe you're resting your forehead onto the chair. But you are finding your Ujjayi breath. And then let's start to straighten the right leg. Release right foot in line with the left. And then inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, release back down. Bend those knees. Find almost like a chair pose, but coming into more of a squat. And then whatever manner is most comfortable for you to release onto your bottom, go ahead and make your way there. And then when you get there, let's draw the soles of the feet together, widen those knees, take an inhale, exhale, round forward. And then let's slowly press our way back to upright. We'll keep the left leg as is and just start to lift the right knee up and then straighten the right leg forward. And we'll draw the sole of the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. We'll take an inhale here, sit up tall. And then as you exhale, just a little turn of the chest and the shoulders to point towards your right extended leg. And then we'll start to, you can round forward. And then hands are on your mat or on the leg for support. So little easy stretch for the back of the body, but still thinking about getting that nice mild sensation of a stretch underneath the right leg, right toes point up towards the ceiling. And then the depth is up to you, where it feels like a pleasant, comfortable sensation. We'll just take a few rounds of breath here. Let's start to walk our hands back towards us so we can sit up tall. Use your left hand to draw the left knee to point up to the ceiling, and then extend the left leg long. And then we'll lift our right knee, open the right knee out, sole of the right foot to the inside of the left leg. We're sitting up tall. Remember, sliding a blanket underneath your hips if you need to. Take an inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist the chest, center of the chest towards the left toes, and you can round through the spine. Getting a nice easy stretch here, straightening that left leg to a comfortable point. And finding your Ujjayi breath. And then as you're ready, slowly walk your way back up. Use your right hand to draw the right knee to point up. Extend both legs straight. Give it a little shake. And then let's center ourselves. Roll it on back. And when you get there, let's cross right ankle over the right thigh above the knee, flex the right foot. Maybe you're staying here, or maybe you're drawing the leg shape towards you. As long as you're cradling your lower half of the body, either with your hands or with a strap. And taking a few moments, a few rounds of breath here on our thread the needle pose. And then let's slowly release. Move over to the other side. And remember, if this pose doesn't feel good on the joints, feel free to modify. You can just hug the knee into the chest or just skip and take more of a relaxing pose. If you are in your thread the needle, flex the left foot to left toes, draw up towards the left knee, and then find a way to support your legs if you have drawn your legs closer towards your body. And just another couple rounds of breath here. And then as you're ready, let's slowly release. Let's separate the feet as wide as the mat. Draw the knees over to the left. Keep the shoulders relaxed down. Maybe draw the arms out into a cactus shape. Maybe you're turning the head over to the right. It's nice kind of opening for the right thigh, right hip flexor with a little twist. And then let's draw those knees through center over to the other side, just to a comfortable point. And maybe the head is turning over to the left. Start to invite or feel that essence of Shavasana coming in. And let's slowly draw the knees back up to the ceiling. Let's rest the knees against each other. Let's take our hands behind our head. Let's lift the head and get a nice stretch for the neck. So you can interlace your fingers back behind your head, heels of the hands on the base of the skull to gently lift and stretch the back of the neck. And then slowly release it down. Let's stretch the arms either up to the ceiling or over the head. Get one more stretch for those arms. Maybe a turn, a slow turn of the wrists. And then as you're ready, let's release arms all the way down by the sides. You can turn the palms of the hands to face up. You can keep the legs as is, or you can stretch the legs long, separate those feet wider than the hips, only if the lower back feels good if you do this. Let's take a deep inhale. Exhale out the mouth. Feel your body relax. I will be playing the sound of wind chimes during your Shavasana. And let's enjoy these next few minutes of peace. And slowly begin to deepen your breath. Send some movement into your fingers, into your toes. And on the next inhale, you can stretch the arms either up to the ceiling or over the head. Get a full body stretch if your legs are straight. And then as you exhale, you can start to bend those knees. You can hug those knees into the chest. Give them a squeeze, maybe a rock left and right. And let's gently roll onto one side. Taking a moment in fetal pose, you can use your bottom arm as a little pillow for your head. And then as you're ready, slowly press your way up to a comfortable seat. Head is heavy and comes up last. And then when you get to that comfortable seat, let's stack the hands atop our heart to take a moment of gratitude. Gratitude to yourself for coming to your practice, or gratitude to anything you are grateful for in your life. And let's draw the palms of the hands together at our heart center. Maybe recall that intention one more time, or that dedication. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. Truly is a privilege and a joy. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Great job today. We had a kind of an energetic practice, so well done. So take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.